What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on nootropics and biohacking. Every shred of information we put on this channel is brought to you by a couple of products. Number one, you guys know the routine. We've got a nootropic stack, and it is an exceptionally strong nootropic stack for being a very minimalistic nootropic stack. We just found ingredients that worked. I was taking it for, I want to say, 9 months straight, running my old company, working 18 hours a day. It's called Cortex, $33 at the website. If you are one of those people that loves the stack, you can get some discounts at livecortex.com on the homepage if you buy 2 to 4 bottles. If you need my help on formulating stacks for you, we have a consulting service for that. It's a 40-minute call with me, super fun. We formulate stacks, figure out what's going to work for you, work with you to dial the doses in perfectly, and then have you on a schedule taking those stacks. It's like it takes a lot of the work out for people that are experimenting. If you're new to nootropics, buy Smarter, Better, Faster. It's a book I wrote specifically for people that are within 1 year of starting taking nootropics. Teaches you everything, teaches you cycling, answers a lot of questions, gives you stacks. Or you can get the Nootropic Starter Pack, which is that book Smarter, Better, Faster plus Cortex, our stack, and a package deal, or the Nootropic Starter Pack Pro, which is Cortex, a consult with me. Smarter, Better, Faster, the Racetam God Guide and stack lists. Gives you lots of stacks and a lot of good stuff. Last thing, if you're a man and you need to boost testosterone, because it will absolutely change your life, you got to get the Viking Testosterone Protocol. Can't tell you how many, I'm like dyslexic today, can't tell you how many people were helping with that protocol. It's like, look, if you don't want to go on TRT, which you should not, testosterone replacement therapy, and you're having sex drive issues, general testosterone issues, you got to get the protocol. It's $99, cheapest it's ever been. Can't say enough good things about it. Best deal ever, livecortex.com. Last thing, if you have adrenal fatigue and you need to heal from it, we can get you feeling pretty good in short order and then working on producing adrenal hormones normally also in short order. It'll change your life if you have adrenal fatigue and you start to fix it. Get the adrenal protocol, livecortex.com. Okay, so we're gonna talk about something a little different. I mean, this channel is largely nootropics, as you guys know, but there's also some other biohacking performance stuff there, obviously like testosterone and adrenal stuff. But the gut has been a huge topic in my life. It's been a huge sort of center of focus for, about 4.5 years. 4.5 years ago, I started having some substantial gut problems. And it was as a result of not feeding myself carbohydrates, because I went keto for a long time, really messed me up. You guys know that's why I talk, all this trash about it. I mean, it's good temporarily, and there's, you can get into ketosis, and brain fuel is amazing there. It's just, for me and for people that work out, it's just not sustainable. There's a lot of things wrong with it. Anyway, one of the things that happened to me is I just starved my gut bacteria of fiber and of carbohydrate substrate to feed gram-positive species. That's what they eat. They eat carbs. So that's like number one critical thing if you're thinking about not eating carbs. You're bound to run into some gut issues. A lot of people have reflux or gut issues and they omit carbs and they get some relief, and that's just because basically what's happening is you've got bacteria in your small intestine, for the most part, that are fermenting those carbohydrates, and they're producing either methane or hydrogen. And when they're producing, I believe it's methane, it's pushing gas up. So stomach contents are going to come up and you're going to get reflux. If it's a little lower in the small intestine, you're going to get bloating and general symptoms of SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And that's what we're going to quickly talk about here. If it's hydrogen, it essentially speeds up gut motility to a point where it's hyperfast, and you're essentially going to run into just diarrhea and lots of other gut issues related to that, potentially ulcerative colitis, just a lot of fast-moving bowel movement stuff happening. Okay, so SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. The point of this video is you have to rotate antimicrobials to defeat it or to keep it under control. Defeating it seems like a very difficult thing to do because bacteria adjust. In the pharmaceutical industry or the medical establishment, it's a known thing that bacteria develop resistance to things like penicillin, amoxicillin, traditional antibiotics. For people that have SIBO, again, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which can manifest in bloating, it can manifest in massive diarrhea, it can also manifest as regular acid reflux and silent reflux, the stuff that goes up to your throat, inflames the tissues, makes it hard to breathe, causes obstructive sleep apnea. For those of you that are like, oh, it's something else, it's your gut that's causing that for the most part. There's a drug for it, it's called rifaximin. And rifaximin has somewhat of a success rate. We're not talking about a cure rate. We're talking about giving people some relief. But the issue is, in order to quell a bacterial overgrowth in the intestine, particularly the small intestine, one has to rotate antibiotics or antimicrobials so that the bacteria does not develop a resistance to it, because that's what it will do eventually in 3 to 5 days, sometimes a couple weeks. It all really depends on, you know, how persistent they are, how they adapt and build biofilms over themselves to protect themselves against getting killed by anything that's antimicrobial or antibiotic. And that is essentially it. So the major point I want to make is, if you've got SIBO or you've got reflux, chronic acid reflux, chronic bloating, which you suspect is SIBO, and you can go to a gastroenterologist and get a breath test for SIBO to see if you actually have it, or if you have the silent reflux that goes up to your throat and stops you from breathing when you're laying down and makes you feel like you have like a frog in your throat, like something kind of just stuck in there all the time. That's reflux. It's non-acidic reflux, but it's sitting there stuck. It's literally sitting there, inflaming your tissues, making it hard for you to breathe in the larynx area. If you have any of these conditions, the way to target it is with antimicrobials. So removing the pharmaceutical medicines at this point, like rifaximin, which is a powerful antibiotic that is activating the intestine, works in the small intestine, which is where these bacteria lie. Removing that from the situation, it has been demonstrated that herbal antibiotics are just as effective. Things like oregano oil, like peppermint oil, like ginger, like fennel, like grapefruit seed extract, like berberine. All these things act as antibiotics in the gut. Now, the best stuff for that situation is enteric coated capsules, meaning it sort of looks like a little gel tab, but they're hardened, and they survive stomach acid, and they open up largely in your small intestine, and that's where they need to do their work to start killing bacteria. But the strategy is about rotating. So let me give you a perfect example. Typically it works in a way where if you eat a meal at nighttime, as an example, because that's when a lot of this stuff is really going to mess with people, 20 or 30 minutes after the meal, once your stomach acid has pumped up and you started to digest the process, that's when the carbohydrates and the food in general is going to start feeding the bacteria, and they're going to start producing gas, and then your symptoms will come shortly thereafter. That is the time at which you take the herbal antimicrobial. So a good schedule would be, for 3 or 4 days, you take enteric coated peppermint oil. Okay, 20 minutes or so after a meal, particularly with carbohydrates. And then, I mean, honestly, there's other things that would help digestion along, like D-limonene. It's not going to cure reflux or digestion problems, but it speeds up peristalsis or a particular stage in digestion. There's also betaine HCl, which you can take, which gives you more stomach acid, which helps you to digest food. But that won't be the whole picture. You have to have the antimicrobials in there. After the 3 or 4 days of enteric coated peppermint oil, what you need to do to prevent resistance of the antimicrobial and the bacteria just developing essentially a tolerance, a resistance to what it is you're putting in your body, and then thus the symptoms coming back, what you need to do to prevent that is then you switch after 3 or 4 days to a different herbal antimicrobial. Take grapefruit seed extract, and 250 milligrams, find the dose for you, find however many capsules actually works for you, and do that for 3 or 4 days. After 3 or 4 days, switch to enteric coated oregano oil, or oil of oregano, which is also massive herbal antimicrobial. If it's enteric coated, to open up the small intestine. And you have to sort of keep, and then maybe 3 or 4 days later, switch to berberine. And then after that 4-day cycle, go back to enteric coated peppermint oil. You've got to keep these bacteria guessing, because otherwise they are like the most persistent life form anyone could ever know. They want to live. You have to remember this. They want to live. They want to stay alive. And just like biology adapts in so many ways to pollutants and toxicants and stuff in the environment, bacteria do the same thing too, because it wants to live. So you've got to rotate antimicrobials in this fashion to keep a hold on the process. If you've got SIBO, reflux, LPR, bloating, any of those things that are related to bacterial imbalances or overgrowth of the small intestine, curing it is probably going to take a very, very long time. You're talking about bacteria or Archaeobacter in the parts per million. But there is a lot of hope for it. As long as you're rotating antimicrobials correctly, you will have relief. Your symptoms should not creep up. The moment at which you're taking a particular antimicrobial too consistently and it's working for 3, 4 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, and then it stops working, that is the moment, that is the exact moment at which you know the bacteria has developed a resistance to what you're taking and it's time to switch. We have a SIBO protocol that includes that and some other things, but much more detail than I just gave you. I just kind of want to give folks an overview. So if you've got SIBO, which can manifest in massive bloating after every meal, regular acid reflux that's chronic, LPR, which is laryngopharyngeal reflux, which comes up to your throat. Even if you've got sleep apnea, chances are it's SIBO causing it. We've got a SIBO protocol for it. You can get that at livecortex.com. I'll flash the screenshot in front of you here. And that is it. The gut is near and dear to me because I've had issues with it for, again, 4.5 years. Got a major hold on it. It really does not bother me these days, and that is because I figured out these strategies. And so thanks a lot for listening and giving me the time to talk about it. Guys, remember, Cortex Stack, 33 freaking bucks at the website. Support us outright. I mean, look, every shred of information we put on this channel is brought to you by, is made possible because you folks purchase nootropic product. But the great thing is we have good nootropic products. Cortex Stack, support us outright, 33 bucks at the website. If you need a discount, fine. Buy a couple bottles, you can get some discounts. Go to the homepage at livecortex.com. You'll see those discounts. If you need my help in formulating nootropic stacks that work for you, getting you on a schedule so you can be productive, brain can work awesome, recovering from GABA deficiencies, recovering from brain fog, get the Nootropics Consulting Service. If you're new to nootropics, Smarter, Better, Faster, Nootropic Starter Pack, or the Nootropic Starter Pack Pro. And then lastly, if you are a man and you are looking to raise your testosterone, look, if you've got low sex drive, if you don't wake up every morning with erections, if you're not attracted to the opposite sex like you were when you were 20 to the point where it kind of makes you not be able to focus, if you can't build muscle easy, if you're not losing fat easy, if you're not energized to wake out of bed, all of those things, as long as you have a lot of that stuff, that's testosterone. Testosterone will also make you live longer. It gives you a lot of confidence and focus and masculinity. It's the #1 hormone to optimize if you're a dude. We've got a protocol for it because embarrassingly I was super low in testosterone after overtraining, not sleeping enough, and a variety of other things. I took a while to study it. I did not get much traction until I found the protocol that we now offer called the Viking Testosterone Protocol. We'll raise your test, get it at livecortex.com. Last thing, if you have adrenal fatigue, we can help you. We've got a protocol for it that works. Get that at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Talk to you next time.